Tag team wrestling. Not only is this one of the most prevalent match types to date, but tag team wrestling has been a cornerstone of professional wrestling in general, birthing some of the most legendary teams in the history of the business, as well as giving us some of the greatest matches of all time. Everything from great storytelling, ring psychology, amazing chemistry and teamwork, and of course we can't forget about the innovative offense that comes in various forms and at times seemingly from out of nowhere. And the correlation I'm trying to make here is that I would love for 2K games and visual concepts to legitimately shape tag team wrestling into something truly special. So what exactly does that look like? Let's get into it. WGC, God bless, and let's work. Right off top, we have to address the lack of tag team offensive opportunities. How are we expected to operate as a team when the game offers so few chances to do so? They have to shed this antiquated philosophy that everything has to happen from the corner, especially when there are so many other available scenarios that we should be able to string together tag offense. Ideally speaking, every grapple position that's available to us in singles matches should also be available in tag matches. Standing, kneeling, sitting, laying on the mat, face up, face down,
beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes,
leaning and sitting in the corner turnbuckle, leaning against the ropes, leaning against the announce table, leaning against the apron, and dare I say even the barricade. As I said, we have so many different positions to work from, but when it comes to the tag team offense, they're basically non-existent. We definitely need to see this change. Tag team comebacks is one of those it's about time features, especially seeing as how standard comebacks have been around for a while now. So why not go ahead and expand this feature into other aspects of the game? With the tag version, the core concept would remain the same, meaning that you would activate a series of moves and sequences, and if you are successful with the QTE minigame, it would see your team coming out on top, shifting the momentum and giving you the offensive advantage. The key difference here is that it would be a all hands on deck situation, meaning there will be very meaningful and pivotal interactions between you and your tag partner, as well as your opponents. So a few examples of tag team comebacks could be a super kick party, shout out to the Young Bucks and the Usos. This sequence could start by you hitting a super kick on the legal man, and then his partner tries to intervene. You hit a duck under, and then your partner immediately blindsides him with another super kick, causing him to roll out, and then you and your partner immediately shift your focus back to the legal man and y'all deliver a double super kick. This is just one example, however, like with the super kick party, there are so many different variations that they could pull off with this. Another tag team comeback concept I had was called Clear the Ring. This would see you and your partner string together a series of offense against both opponents that would eventually lead to you ejecting both opponents to the outside. And just like we mentioned before, this would just be one of those things that would help you shift the momentum back to your favor. And the last tag team comeback concept is for those high flyers, stereo dives. This one would see things play out much like Clear the Ring, with the difference being that after you eject your opponents from the ring, you and your tag partner would rebound off the ropes and perform stereo dives to the outside, taking out both opponents. These are just a few examples to kind of paint a picture. I would love to get you guys' opinion on this. If y'all have any ideas regarding tag team comebacks, post them down below in the comments. While we're speaking within the realm of paybacks, I would love for 2K and VC to add some other forms of tag team paybacks as well. A very simple tag team payback concept is called Arm and Distract. This is one from pretty much every heel tag team playbook. That spot where they will either slide or toss their tag team partner a weapon and then immediately distract the ref, giving their partner a chance to use the weapon without fear of disqualification. This is one of those simple but effective strategies we see used a lot in tag team wrestling. Another very simple concept is the tag team assisted dirty pen. We've seen the Usos use this and make it famous in a lot of their matches. I think this is just a cool way to take some of the existing gameplay elements and add them into the tag team landscape. And keeping with the theme of simplicity, I would also like to see a tag team version of the resiliency, maybe in the form of a very cinematic pinfall or submission breakup. Once activated, you would see the camera zoom in real close to the pinfall, only to have your partner come flying off screen and break up the pinfall in dramatic fashion. Another dope alternative to this is instead of having a pinfall breakup, you could actually just have the ref slide out of the ring all of a sudden and then have the camera pan and showing your partner pulling the ref out of the ring. Maybe it switches up depending on where your partner's location is at the time of the pinfall. So if he's like on the apron, then we get the dramatic pinfall breakup. But if he's outside the ring, then maybe we get the ref pull out sequence. So again, nothing too crazy, but it's the small little details like this is really what's going to push this match type into the greatness that it deserves. Okay, now switching things up to something maybe a little bit more ambitious, Twin Magic. This was made famous by teams such as the Bellas, the Usos, the Bushwhackers, and I think even Kurt Angle and his brother has pulled it off. This spot sees a wrestler being replaced by his twin or lookalike without the ref or his opponent noticing. It's basically like a built-in blind tag for twins. And while the execution can slightly differ, the results always remain the same with your opponent being caught off guard. I can see this one being triggered while you're laying on the mat. So picture a scenario where you activate the Twin Magic and it shows you rolling out, and your opponent immediately tries to follow suit only to be stopped by the ref. While your opponent is in the ring busy arguing with the ref, that's when you and your partner switch places. At this point, your opponent will finally fight past the ref and then lean over the ropes in an attempt to pull you back in the ring, only to be the victim of a slingshot attack and thus giving you the advantage. In short, this is a very roundabout pro wrestling way of getting a free illegal tag, and I for one am very here for it. Another cool little detail with this is I feel like it should differ depending on which partner calls for the Twin Magic. So shifting scenarios, let's say the partner on the apron actually calls for the Twin Magic. At that point, we would see the partner on the apron distract the ref by accusing their opponents of doing something illegal. Once the ref turns around to check and begins to argue with your opponent, your partner on the apron will then sneak into the ring and drag you out of the ring and then lay down in the same spot that you were in, taking your place. Afterwards, your opponent concludes his back and forth with the ref and attempts to follow up on you, only to fall victim to a roll-up pin. Again, very theatrical, very pro wrestling, and I love it all. The drag and carry system should be another major tool in tag team wrestling. Why they don't utilize this feature more is something I just don't understand personally, especially since logically it makes the most sense. If you lift your opponent into one of the carry positions, then half the work is already done. So what I would propose is that they just allow your tag team partner to come over and maybe hit the grapple while you have your opponent in a carry position, and that would lead to a double team grapple. For me, this is in no-brainer territory, but I guess if it's not understood, then it really does need to be said, so consider this me saying it. Wait, hold that thought. Maybe it's not enough if I'm the only one saying it. And I mean, this is a video about tag team wrestling, and I thought to myself, why go at it alone? So I actually went out and found myself a tag team partner. This is the perfect time to hit him with that hot tag and get up out of here and let him cook.
The tag team wrestling that you see today on television is pretty much non-existent in the video games made for professional wrestling. For some reason, tag team wrestling really hasn't been made a priority when it comes to the video games. We've had many great features throughout the years for the video games, but for some reason, each year, a feature is taken away and making tag team wrestling more non-existent than ever. When it came to the Aki games like WCW vs NWO Revenge, even up to WWF No Mercy, they really had some features in there that kind of put the controller in your hands rather than just watching a cutscene. Throughout the years, we got the SmackDown vs. Raw series that really brought tag team wrestling to the forefront of these video games. But then we got the 2K series that kind of took feature by feature away each and every single year. Though we're getting stuff added in slowly but surely within these games, there are a lot of things still left on the table that we would love to see to get that true simulation and even better arcade gameplay added to the fold. When it came to the Aki edition of the games, there was a small feature in the game that put the controller in your hands that really made it fun and fresh if you were playing with friends, and I'm talking about the carry feature. There was a way in the Aki games that you could put an opponent onto your shoulder, thus having your partner run up to the top rope, do the Doomsday device, or any other move that was in their arsenal to hit your opponent off of the shoulders. They also allowed things like the 3D out of nowhere. There was a way to incorporate tag team moves right there off the fly, to where it wasn't just tagging from the corner and doing a double team from that position. I would like to see some sort of carry feature that allows your partner to interact from either the apron with a springboard, off the top rope, or even coming into the ring illegally and performing a move off of a carry feature at any given point within the match. Which leads me to a 3D out of nowhere. It would be nice to have the option, sort of like NBA 2K, where you're throwing the alley-oop, you get to press a button, and out of nowhere he hits the alley-oop slam, and it looks great, it looks fun, and it was interactive. It gave you the chance to put the controller into your hands. You got to be involved within that move. Both of you guys get to celebrate at the end. It would be nice to have an option if you are in a tornado tag or even a regular tag situation, to where if you're in the ring at the same time as your partner, who is the legal man, there's a specific moveset that would pop up within the game, to where if Bubba Ray Dudley is going to throw him off the ropes, he's going to catch him, and automatically gives you the option to press a button or do a running dive or a cutter out of nowhere, something along the lines that would put you in this position, in this moment. The controller's in your hands. It would be more gratifying to hit this move rather than just watching a cutscene. Kind of puts you in the moment. I would love to see something like this happen. Back in SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, we had the opportunity to have more interactive spots as the illegal man on the apron when it came to tag team wrestling. We were able to pull the ropes down. That way, if your partner had Irish whipped somebody into the rope, you could pull the rope down, it sends them flying over the top. Or if they just wanted to run the ropes, you can pull the rope down and interrupt their move at the same time. There was also a better option of grabbing your opponent from the apron and having your partner pick from an array of moves that you could do that are different each and every single time. In 2K that we see today, we only see one, maybe two moves out of that motion, building up hot tags where it actually meant something in the SmackDown vs. Raw days. Now granted, it gave you a comeback position when you hit the hot tag, but if you're the partner on the apron building up the hot tag, you're able to smack the turnbuckle, you're able to get into the motion to build up that hot tag. They have a camera cut, they make the hot tag mean something. It puts your opponent in a dazed state and you automatically get that comeback move. This would actually mean more. In the hot tags that we see today, you just hit the hot tag, there is no animation, there is no dazed state, there is nothing. I would like to see an option to where if we get the hot tag, we've actually earned it and it will mean something to the match. It helps you think out strategy within the tag team. It helps tag team mean a little bit more. If you hit that hot tag, this is danger for your opponents, not just hitting a hot tag and getting somebody else in the ring that is a little bit fresh. It doesn't really mean something and it doesn't bring life to the tag team matches overall in the video games. Maybe only allowing one hot tag per match. So if this is the case, you don't want to let your opponent get that hot tag because it could turn the tables for your tag team within this match. If you get the hot tag, you have the upper hand. That's the way it should be in pro wrestling. That's the way it is on TV. I'd like to see it brought that way in the video games. Some quality of life improvements I would love to see in this year's game when it comes to tag teams is a lot more animations when it comes to pulling down the ropes from the apron, or even some great detail like grabbing the tag rope to make the tag like you see on television today. I'd like to see refs get distracted better and it actually means something. I'd like to be able to pull the ref off of a count from the outside and have the ref be completely knocked out on the bottom. Tag team wrestling needs to mean more within the WWE 2K franchise.
Tag team weapon grapples. To be honest, bro, I'm beyond confused as to why this has not happened yet. In this present day and time, we should have already had two-man concertos, or a legitimate 3D through the table that doesn't require some kind of sorcery just to pull it off. Even things on a more simplistic level, such as like an assisted chair shot or maybe a spike pile driver on a chair. These should be things that are readily available for players in tag matches. And I think ultimately what we need is for 2K and VC to be a lot more creative in these situations. Weapon attacks and interactions were instrumental in some of the greatest tag matches of all time. And I feel like it's a disservice that we can't even closely recreate some of those most standout moments. Tag team taunts. This is another one of those simple pro wrestling aesthetics that would just be so much fun to be able to pull off. A concept I had is that by simply targeting your tag team partner, you would gain access to a variety of tag team taunts. How cool would it be to hit a 5-second pose like Edge and Christian, or have Big E and Kofi showing out in the ring while Francesca is blaring in the background? If it's the Usos, gonna let them throw up the ones. Or my personal favorite, which is the Dudleys. Imagine Bubba Ray doing his Devon get the tables taunt, and Devon actually goes outside and gets a table. These are the type of details I just think would go crazy in a tag team setting. A tag team meter. In the likeness of NBA 2K's team takeover mechanic, I would love to see something like this make its way into the WWE 2K series. Simply put, this mechanic would incentivize working as a team. Actions such as frequent tags, double team moves, pinfall saves, distractions, hot tags would all be positive actions towards filling your meter. Naturally, the better chemistry you have with your partner, the faster the meter will fill. So you take teams like the Usos, Good Brothers, the Kabuki Warriors, their tag meter will be a lot easier to fill as opposed to some makeshift teams like Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. The purpose for filling this meter is that it will grant you access to other tag team actions such as tag team paybacks, tag team comebacks, and even tag team signatures and finishers. Deciding how and when to use the meter is just a level of strategy in itself. And like I mentioned before, it just makes it feel more like a team effort. Because let's be honest, most tag matches have more of a fighting game feel, meaning that a lot of the times we have a primary guy that we're using in a match, and the other guy's there simply just for emergency purposes. Meaning like if you get washed in a match and you just don't want to get pinned, you'll tag him in to kind of give your main guy a breather. He feels more like a second string replacement more so than an actual partner. I just feel like this feature would help us shift our focus from this match just being a 1v1 with a secondary side character and encouraging us to buy into the teamwork aspect of things. Speaking of teamwork, sometimes teams just don't work out. Sometimes you and your partner just don't see eye to eye. And I would love for the tag meter mechanic to reflect that. We've discussed the anatomy of what good tag team wrestling looks like. But now let's switch sides and let's talk about some of those dysfunctional duos. Those when tag team wrestling goes wrong moments.
Put the fries in the bag, bro.
If we're going by the logic that positive tag actions fill your meter, then naturally the negative ones will see your meter take a hit. So things like refusing to tag in or refusing to tag out, blind tags that interrupt your partner's offense, like if he's doing a corner or turnbuckle taunt, or if he's setting up for a corner finisher and you hit a blind tag to kind of undercut his momentum and steal all the glory for yourself.
Boy, ain't no way, boy.
You know, he might feel a type of way about that. It would be cool if they had a special animation of you maybe shooing him out of the ring as if to say, okay, I got it from here. Basically adding insult to injury. Other actions such as not being in place for the tag or accidental bumps would also see your tag meter take a hit. After performing a certain amount of negative actions, you would gain access to some treacherous Judas Level, not feeling very oozy, no yeet activities. The first being abandoning your partner and leaving him to fend for himself on his own. Upon doing this or having it done to you, we would be treated to a cutscene showing either you or your tag partner refusing to tag in, hopping off the apron, and then making its exit up the ramp. At that point, the match will effectively become a handicap match. If you were the one unfortunately jilted at the apron, you would have no choice but to go at it alone. Or if you were the evil SOB that decided to depart from the partnership, you have the option to spectate your ex-partner's potential demise, all in glorious 4K, or at least 1080p. The second unholy act would be to actually turn on your partner. Am I my partner's keeper? No, I am not. This would see you blindsiding your partner, packing him up, and then leaving him to the wolves. And this one, I think it would be cool if the cutscene would differ depending on the demeanor of your opponents. So if it's a team like DIY, they may just stand back in shock and awe as you dismantle your former tag partner. But if it's the Judgment Day, we would get a cutscene of them actually joining in on the festivities. Just something light, something to think about. That being said, on a lighter note, a couple of quality of life things I would love to see is one, bring back the Dragon Tag feature. I think we had this in older games, but I would love to see this make a return. This is extremely useful for keeping up your team's momentum, as well as cutting off the ring for your opponents. This is just one of those universally known strategies in tag wrestling, and I would love to see it back in the game. The next one is something slight, but it's more so about convenience. Adding a tag team and factions tab in the character select menu. This would allow us to quickly select teams without us having to go through the menu and select them one by one. So if I wanted to select the Brothers of Destruction, tab over to the teams section and select them from a list of teams. Light work. There's also a few other tabs I would love to see in this section, but that's for another video. But that's just my take on things. WGC, the floor is yours. Let us know down in the comments how you guys are feeling about WWE 2K's Tag Team Wrestling. And better yet, what improvements would you like to see from this series? I want to give a truly special shout out to my collab partner for this video, Jesse from the Pro Wrestling Shoot. Bro is a legit blessing and one of the champions of the WGC, man. The content that him and James put together, man, is just a beautiful mixed bag. Everything from dev team and content creator interviews, the gaming live streams, the podcast where they actually talk about WWE 2K in detail. Much like myself, they give 2K their flowers when they're due, but they also are not afraid to hold them accountable. So make sure y'all go to the channel and show them some love, and also check out the podcast, man. I think they do it every Tuesday. It's a really dope vibe. As always, thank you guys for giving me a piece of your time and checking out the channel. It truly does mean a lot to me. Do me a favor, if you rock with the content, leave a thumbs up, share the video with a friend. Love y'all. All glory to God. Remember to try to be a blessing to somebody. Later, WGC. Yay.